So it's been a month since Marathon launched, and I mean, let's be honest, it hasn't gotten the traction I'm sure Bungie and Sony wanted it to have. It's a game that people like, but not a game that has become a breakout hit like Arc Raiders, which is, of course, in the same genre of extraction shooter. So, Paul Tassi over at Forbes, you might know him from covering Destiny and Destiny 2, top to bottom. He was like the premier source on everything happening in that game, has written an article called Checking In on Marathon a Month After Launch. And he writes, "We just ticked past a month since Marathon launched, Bungie's high-profile extraction shooter attempting to chase hits in the genre and avoid its brutal pitfalls. A lot has happened during that time, and I thought it would be a good moment to reflect and see where we've landed after that initial launch window. Here are the highlights. Marathon has excelled with its user scores, currently at 88% positive reviews on Steam, 4.54 out of 5 stars on PlayStation, and a 4.1 out of 5 on Xbox. The point being that most players who've actually purchased the game like it. More reviews have come in from critics for Marathon in time where it has been pushed from the high 70s to now an 82 Metacritic score on PS5, which includes notable scores from bigger outlets like Game Informer, which gave it a 9.3, GameSpot a 9, PC Gamer a 9, and IGN a 9. About 2 weeks ago, analyst firm Alia estimated that Marathon had sold around 1.2 million copies across all platforms. I confirmed with my Bungie sources that was close to accurate. Marathon has previously hit number 2 on Steam revenue chart ahead of launch. Also near accurate is the 478,000 daily active user count in its first weekend, though that dropped to 345K more recently. That data is 2 weeks old now, however. As I previously reported, the majority of Marathon player base is on Steam, as confirmed by my sources. Alina reports it at 70%. That report said that the average playtime was 28 hours on Steam, with 22% of players at more than 50 hours and 7% past 100, indicating a hardcore fan base immediately latching on to the game. Those numbers will have gone up since then. Marathon did not chart inside Steam's top 10 at launch, or at least with an 88,337 concurrent peak at its largest platform. That is a drop from the 143,621 peak during the free server slam, but the game now costs $40. Since launch just over a month ago, those peaks have dropped by 68%, where the game most recently hit 27,670 peak at the time of writing. Marathon's Ultra Endgame activity, Cryo Archive, launched on Friday, March 20th. The tick up in players is only slightly above that of a normal weekend increase. Marathon is now the 106th most played game on Xbox. I do not have full PS5 data, though it did chart in the top 10 list at launch. Marathon is 78th in daily active users on Steam at the time of writing, and 82nd in top sellers. I can confirm Marathon's budget is over $200 million, likely more than $250 million. That does not include ongoing costs for maintenance and new content now. So those are the numbers, good ones and less good ones. Analysis, here's a bit. Why do active players like Marathon? It is a wholly unique game in both the extraction shooter space and the shooter space in general. Bungie gameplay is altered but present. The hero kits did not turn out poorly, as some thought they would. The later 2 maps, Outposts and Cryo Archive, blend puzzles and an actual raid boss in a way that has never been seen in the genre. Players with active teams are especially having a great time. Many enjoy solo play or rook sulking as well. Why are players falling off? There are notable declines, notably quick. This isn't really a way to spin that. There may be many reasons, but one is rather simple. The game is too hard for many players. That's not condescension. Marathon prides itself on being a very hardcore game in what is already a very hardcore genre. With the release of Outpost, Cryo Archive, and Ranked, the game is more competitive than it's ever been, as it slims down to better players with better gear. It can wear on you even if you like it. What issues has it faced? There have been a few notable problems. RNG spawns are tied to Cryo Archive completions, which were patched. The compiler, Ultra Boss, drops a weapon that is overpowered. It has been nerfed once, but it will likely be again. Generally speaking, Bungie has moved very quickly on these patches at roughly 10 times the speed they have for Destiny lately. They are also raising issues with cheaters, particularly at higher ranks where there's more at stake, plus the genre problem of losing not just a map, but entire loadout when cheaters hit. How's the game doing overall? We have absolutely made it out of the Concord conversation, which has claimed Highguard and even a few other games since then. It has not posed a significant challenge to ARC Raiders, though that game is dealing with its own declines. There is an argument, however, that these current figures, even through declines, are expected / good enough for a hardcore PvP game, as of course that wasn't going to be made for a wide audience. But again, this is hundreds of employees working for half a decade with hundreds of millions of dollars invested, and it's a must-win in Sony's floundering live service push. You have to take context into account here. There are higher expectations and more pressure on Marathon than most. It needs more players. It needs to stop losing players. It needs to make money going forward from its microtransactions. We will not know anything about Sony's official reception of the game and whether it says it's a hit or it isn't hitting its marks until some sort of earning call where it may or may not be mentioned. But much of the math is easy to do. On Bungie's end, there is less panic than when the game was flailing with multiple controversies last summer. There are mostly head downs working on new content and whatever the case may be. This is not a game that is about to face some sort of imminent shutdown. In those days, that's enough to qualify as a win. So, a lot to break down there from the article. I think one of the biggest problems with Marathon is the fact that it is so hardcore. ARC Raiders has the matchmaking that matches you with people of similar aggressiveness. So if you're a very aggressive player, you'll be playing against very aggressive players. And if you're a more PvE-focused player, you'll be playing with more PvE-focused players, which I think has helped it maintain a rather large portion of its concurrent players. Marathon being more hardcore is only going to appeal to people who are more hardcore. I think that is kind of a problem when you already have a game like Escape from Tarkov, which fills the more hardcore niche in these types of games. I also feel that there's just not enough live service games to go around. I really, really feel that we're reaching a point of people have already committed to the games that they're going to play. It's going to be very difficult to move them off of these games. And unless you are a true blue straight up hit, you're not going to be able to move people off of it. Do I think that Marathon is going to shut down anytime soon? Probably not. They still have, the investment of Sony to keep them going, but I do very much believe that this isn't what Sony really wanted when they first, conceived of it. They thought that Bungie making a live service shooter was a no-brainer. They thought that extraction shooters would only get more popular, and that hasn't really happened outside of ARC Raiders. So we will see where Marathon ultimately ends up. But what do you think about all of this? Do you think that Marathon has a chance, or do you think it's going to slowly whittle down its player base until it's eventually shut down sooner than later? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. New videos coming out all the time here on the channel. Check out our main channel where you get everything. We cover video games in the form of video essays and video game reviews. Check out our sports channel where you get sports, where we cover sports news, and our podcasting channel, Better Radio. Again, thank you so much for checking this one out. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. Not the biggest goal in the world, but a goal nonetheless. So, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.